Good morning, everybody. Episode 26 of the RT Machine podcast. Forgot to tell the new guys in the room that the music is very loud when it comes on.
kind of bombs you.
They all kind of were taken aback.
This is our first morning recording.
Yeah, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed here.
Yeah, well, we'll go that
7:30.
far, but we'll be all right.
So let's go around the room, introduce everybody. This is Eric talking. We got several new people in the room, or new to the podcast. To my right, we have
Gino Malgieri. I am a salesman for RT. Be going into my 7th year with a little bit of a hiatus in the middle. I cover.
I don't know. We're doing the introductions first. You got a little take. You're getting a little ahead.
We'll just go around the table quick, then we'll come
This
back
is-
to you.
I thought you guys said to introduce myself.
Yeah, this is Ron talking here. Ron's in the room, and we have
I'm Bill Wolford. This is my 2nd year with RT, so I'm a salesman as well.
Dean's here.
Liam Malgieri, Gino's son.
Security.
yeah, he's here. He's here to protect us. Anyway, so Gino, you started. I can I can let you ramble.
Let me recap.
Yeah.
I going into my 7th year with RT. A little bit of a hiatus. Tried something different for about a year, I would say. But ultimately made my way back home. I guess we all. I cover the Northeast, essentially the Northeast, New York State, all the New England states. I've been doing that for even going back before RT when I worked for Styles Machinery for 5 years before that. So 12, 13 years in the industry.
Northeast. Yeah. So what did you? How did you start? Like you got out of college, I assume. What did you do?
I got out of college. I did retail for a few years. After that, I was actually an operator in a treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant. Ultimately ended up being like a supervisor, for lack of a better term, in the treatment plant. Met my wife, who's from Syracuse area in New York. We decided to move up there because I'm originally from Newport, Rhode Island, which, if anybody's been there, is a little high end. So when you can't buy a house for under $900,000, you make your way to a place that's a little bit less expensive.
The area now that's headed that direction too.
Yeah, now it's Syracuse is headed that direction. But anyways, so I went up there and basically changed careers, went into sales, worked for a pump and like plumbing distributor, kind of similar to what I was doing at wastewater on a much smaller scale, but became a salesman at that point, going back 20 years ago. From that industry, went into larger machinery, mixing and size reduction equipment. In this industry, you would think WEMA or Wyman, I'm sorry, the grinder company, if I'm saying that right.
Backup plan.
Things like that. But for all industries,
Yeah.
Across the board, from wood to fiberglass to food product to everything. Was in that for 5 years with a manufacturer out of Utica, New York, because like I said, I moved to Syracuse. And from there, transferred into woodworking equipment when an opportunity came up with Styles.
How did that happen? Did they recruit you, or you saw an ad, or?
I saw an ad.
Okay.
I worked for a small family-owned company, a manufacturer who bought most of their welding and tooling equipment at Harbor Freight. So they were not
Nice.
the most forward-thinking group. Yeah, and it
wrong with
just was,
Harbor Freight?
it wasn't it wasn't the industry for me. So yeah, my father was a carpenter, blue collar. I kind of knew a little bit about wood from him, from watching him when I was little.
Quite an awakening, though, going to Styles and the stuff that they sell. I would.
Yeah, I mean it's different than going from a rotary saw or a circular saw to that stuff. But I mean, I once I got into the industry, I really do love it. So I love everything about it.
Yeah, you took to it pretty fast. We met you when you were at Styles. I don't know
Yeah.
How many years into your tenure there did we
You guys
hook up?
probably 3 years, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Well,
about
John was there.
2015, I think, right?
Yeah, so I started in 2012.
okay.
Okay.
It's about 3 years.
So
in.
3 years. Yeah, you guys when John took over the Northeast because you weren't there with Adam Lopug.
No. Yeah. No, we knew Adam very well, but we didn't work with him.
Yeah. From his Adwood days?
Oh, yeah, we knew him from that, and then he did talk to us when he was at Styles. I still talk to him from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
He's in California now.
Yeah, he's running the West Coast, they would call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, early on, it was almost contentious because you were covering the Northeast, and then they brought us on as a dealer. So I think it was almost confusing. You were like, "Am I responsible for these guys? Am I competing with these guys?"
Well,
Like, it was,
at that point when John took over, everything in the Northeast was confusing. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I was. They kind of. He wanted me to do like kind of manage, but I wasn't technically a manager. Then he did make me a manager, but for Alliance and New England.
Not for us?
At the end.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
just
right.
before I jumped and came over.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, it was just very confusing, and I did cover like for them because at that point, when I first came into Styles, they didn't have anybody in PA, Western PA. They had the Panelwood guys in Eastern PA, but nobody covered Western Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I would drop down to Pittsburgh every now and then, and you know, that's a. I mean, we all know covering New York State and Pennsylvania is tricky. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, New England's. You know, because I cover New England, it's not as difficult because there's certain spots that you just don't need to go.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to northern Maine. You're not going anywhere above Portland, basically. And that same thing with New Hampshire. And yeah, there's a couple people up in Vermont, but you know, you kind of there's a circle if you draw an area around Boston, maybe 100, 125 miles out. That's basically New England.
Right.
And the southern border, the southern coast of Connecticut is very busy. Mm-hmm. So it's not as hard as covering. I mean,
Pennsylvania's very scattered.
If you go from the corner of New York to corner of Pennsylvania, that's 15 hours. I mean, it probably is that much. So
it's a long drive.
It sure is. Yeah.
Lots of trees. Oh, good. Well, we're glad to have you back. I mean, when you left, you sold the mixers.
Yeah, I went back and they had headhunted me, and you know, it was an offer that was really, really good.
Right.
So I gave it a shot. Wasn't happy about it, but I couldn't turn it down for that year. But knew kind of quickly within 6 months, and you and I stayed in contact quite a bit.
Right.
That it was, you know, it just wasn't gonna work out.
Yeah.
But because they were paying me so well, not that you guys don't pay me. Don't get me wrong. We live a fine life.
They're definitely better.
Yeah. It's just, you know, when you have peace of mind and it's a little bit, this is more fun for me. So that's why I came back.
It helps to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's good. Good. So we also have Bill with us. Bill, how did you? What did you get started? You used to have a family.
Yeah, we had a family metal cutting business, machine shop fabricating. Yeah. Right. So my dad started it. He started it back in 1979, 80, and
around Cleveland, Ohio.
In Kent, Ohio.
Kent, yeah.
Yeah, between Cleveland and Akron.
That's right.
So. And so I grew up in that. I started working there when I was about 14 or 15, you know, cleaning parts, painting, stuff like that.
Sweeping the floor.
I did a lot of the sweeping
the
of the floor. Yeah, and
Eric knows that too well.
and, you know, the machine shop business, you have tons of metal chips. So my job was to make sure there's no metal chips on the floor. And that's hard to do when you're cutting metal. When you have 4, 5, 6 machines out there running. I mean, you
were busy.
Yeah, there's no chip collectors either. So I was a chip collector. So anyways, so the day I got promoted, when I got my driver's license, I got promoted to truck driver. That's one of the happier days of my career, in my life. I got to get out of the shop and drive around. Actually, I think it's helped me now as I've gotten into sales, learning how to get around and, you know, find places. This is before cell phones and GPS and the internet and all that.
Red Alley, we always use maps.
Yeah, I had little city maps, those little orange and yellow city maps, and then the bigger ones of the state and things like that.
I remember holding them out on the trunk of my car, trying to figure out where I was at, where I was going.
These guys don't know.
No, they don't know maps.
Yeah, a coffee cup and a rock on the side of the road.
Holding it down. Yeah.
I've seen a map before.
And
Have you ever
know,
seen a map?
if you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to stop. You knew where all the payphones were and everything else. I mean, it was good. You always had
You knew the good payphones too.
Yeah.
The ones that had the little ledge, so you could
Yeah.
write your notes while
Right.
you're talking on the
You
phone.
go, oh, this street is at L5. And you're like on a map.
So, but yeah, so I did that. I mean, I went to college, got my degree, and then came back and hit the road. My dad, he loved the business. But he got pretty narrow-minded. We had about 2 customers for a long time. Me being the college smart guy, said, we need to have a few more than 2, Dad. So went out and started scouting around. Unfortunately, he became ill, and passed away. So I ended up basically starting to being in charge of the business for about 12, 13 years. I started when I was probably 27 years old, 26 years old.
Wow.
So between my mom and me, we ran it for quite a while. Unfortunately, hit that recession of 08, 09, and my mom was looking to retire, and just couldn't get any help from banks or anything, so we ended up selling everything. And I went out and found gainful employment. So worked for a company called American Roller for 6, 7 years.
What did you do there?
We made industrial rollers for, we did a lot for the converting industry, like the Avery Dennisons of the world, like their coating rolls and their laminating rolls.
Oh, okay.
And then we did a lot of coil coating, applicator rolls, people painting steel, things like that. That was our main bulk of our business. We did a lot of other things, but they're urethane, rubber. We had a hard coat line. We had a plasma coating line.
Huh.
So we had a lot of different things. I covered Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Michigan. So
Wow, that was a big territory.
yeah, it was a lot. So it was it was a lot of driving around. I mean, you just make your trips. I mean, he's planning out I'm gonna go to Pennsylvania this week and next. So it wasn't bad. And like I say, I enjoyed that. Unfortunately, we got bigger and made a bunch of acquisitions, and I had a boss who lived 5 miles from me, and he used to have the job I did, so they decided, well, they'll keep him, and they don't need me. So I moved on, and I worked for a little while selling tire equipment, a company called Steelastic over in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. They made the equipment that put the steel belts in the tires, and we had a proprietary thing there. So my territory was Europe. So I got to travel to Europe quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's fun. I mean, when you're doing it, twice a month, it's not that fun. And
First couple times were okay, right? Then
yeah, and then like I say, I grew up in the machining business, the metal cutting business, and I saw your ad. I applied here, and actually Gino and Eric came and interviewed me and hired me. So
in a Starbucks.
in a Starbucks in Stowe, Ohio. I'll never forget. And so,
Well, that's good.
but I'm still pretty green around the gills. I mean, I've learned a lot. I know a lot more than I did 2 years ago, but I still don't. You know.
There's a lot.
Yeah, we all don't know everything.
Yeah. So,
Still
but I enjoy it. I appreciate the patience. It's been kind of a tough year for me this year with my mom and everything, but
Right.
I finally got that all straightened out, so we're ready to go. I'm good to go. So.
Good deal.
You're basically covering the entire state of Ohio.
Ohio, yeah.
Yeah.
Spend-
Which is a big state too. Not as big as Pennsylvania to New York to Pennsylvania, but
Ohio's pretty big, though.
it is.
There's a lot of territory there.
a lot of it's concentrated in the Amish country there and like the north central.
Yeah, the nice part is where I live. I mean, there's the Middlefield area, which isn't quite as big, and then the Millersburg area. That area is huge, and that's right. I'm right in between those two. So
And then around the cities, you'll get some.
yeah, and then like down to Columbus and Cincinnati areas and things like that.
But man, between Columbus and Cleveland.
Well,
right,
there's a big between Columbus and Dayton. There's a big area like that Plain City. It's called. I think it's more towards Columbus than it is anything. But there's quite. I mean, there's like just a road full of these wood shops.
Oh yeah, Amish country again.
There's kind of they're about they're
Amish-ish.
kind of Amish. Yeah,
kind of Amish.
Mennonite?
it could be that. I don't know what they're. Yeah, I think they're Amish, but I just don't think they're is.
Different order.
Yeah, it's a different order of the Amish.
Yeah, they have different
Yes,
rules, it seems like.
Yeah, they have electricity and vehicles and things like that.
A lot more of them have electricity now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, particularly in like the Millersburg area. mean, you'll still get into a small shop. Like our previous salesman that covered the area, Steve, took me to a shop one time, and they were still running one of those. What are they called? It's like a combination joiner, planer, bandsaw, mortiser, like everything on the same machine.
Yeah.
And it was all run off a line shaft. And Steve would just go in there once in a while to see if they wanted to sell it because he wanted it for an antique.
Oh, really?
But they were still using it.
Was it the original Carpenter machine?
Maybe.
That's probably why
You have to ask him about it.
Yeah, I'll have to say something to him.
The first time I went to that area, I was amazed. Coming from Rhode Island doesn't have many, but even up in New York State, they're mostly. And I traveled with an Amish guy once, and he said there was. They called it classes. They call it low class or high class. Had nothing to do with like monetary or money or anything like that. It was more of the rules. And low class would be drive shaft and blue and no buttons, and then I would, like when you would see like women with flowered dresses and the kids with colored polos, and I was like, but the only thing they didn't do was drive.
Yeah.
I mean, they had electricity. We went to a guy who was he was the one who sold and fixed the diesel motors for the low class because they didn't run on generators. They ran on motors with the drive shaft, like Eric was saying.
Right.
And I was watching, and electricity, and the wife was out cutting the grass, and big operation, mechanical, big garage, and the son, older son, got in a big giant case tractor.
Yeah.
With a trailer on the back with all the tools. And I said, where's he going? He goes, oh, he's driving to go fix diesel generators or diesel motors. And I said, well, that thing goes 40 miles an hour. Why didn't you buy a truck? Because it was a tractor.
It's okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how they have the rules that just don't make sense to
Yeah,
us, but I
but
guess
makes
they
perfect sense to them,
Makes
yeah.
sense to them,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters. So,
I wondered if we could have an Amish guy on as a guest. That'd probably be a no-no.
I don't know.
They got
Depends,
cell phones.
depends on what the rules
Sometimes.
are.
Yeah.
I got guys that won't even touch my cell phone. Like I want to show them a machine, and like I have to hold it for them. Like now there's others that they know more about the cell phone than I do. But
They're
Yeah,
changing all your settings.
We had one customer, and he had Marine Johnson with the computer screen for the moving blade saw, and the Amish wouldn't operate it if he had to go in there and
Oh, really?
program it and stuff. They'll feed the machine, but they wouldn't touch the screen, so it was a problem.
Ryan and I visited a guy that made the blinds down in when I first was helping with Ryan down in southern Pennsylvania, and he would just pull up his computer and look up websites.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
I don't know if some of them just do it and try to get away with it, or certain areas are allowed and certain areas aren't. I don't know. Like you said, everybody has different rules.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, the whole thing
Yeah.
is, for us, I mean, I'm fascinated by it. So
But you didn't want to take the family and become Amish.
no, I mean, these
God,
kids,
no. that would be terrible.
I tell you what, last summer our power was out for about a week, and there's no way.
I'm the worst with powers out.
Oh, power goes out for 5 hours, and I'm
Yeah, I'm like-
contemplating what's going on.
I'm starting to burn the house.
Yeah. My daughter's freaking out because there's no Wi-Fi. I'm like, really? That's what you're worried about? Okay.
I hate not having power. I never bought a generator, but I hate being without power.
Well, it always happens in the summer, and you lose the AC. And once the AC goes down, you start sweating.
Oh, it's hot.
The first world problems over here.
What happened a couple of years ago in Texas when it was actually cold in Texas? And
Oh yeah, I
people were
remember that.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Well, we had remember the time it went out for over 24 hours. They
Oh, yeah.
at the substation, one of the big something blew, and they had to truck it in, and this thing was huge. One of the big.
So a big area was out then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was almost like Lord of the Flies. It was
Yeah.
it was getting bad.
Lord of oh, jeez. So Liam,
Yep.
tell us about yourself.
Um,
He's the young man of the room.
Yeah, I'm
Got you beat, Dean.
18, freshman in college right now at SUNY Brockport. Graduated about, 6 months ago
From high school.
from high school, I should say. I'm studying
He's 18, going to be 19 in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. I'm majoring in right now it's exercise science, but switching out to probably business administration. What I know about this industry is probably what I've overheard from my dad's phone calls and 8th grade shop class.
Where he built a very nice shoe
Very
cabinet.
nice shoe
Yeah, he
cabinet.
did a very nice
That's
job
in the
on it.
garage now. Don't really see that often.
No,
But
had to design it with CAD and everything. So.
Yep.
Well, if you go to work for, you said you might get a job at Stickley for the summer.
yeah,
You'll learn a little bit there.
hopefully.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
We were working on some of his qualifications this week, right?
Oh yeah, forklift certified now.
You
If
know,
anybody needs summer help,
you know what a dirty dust collector is now.
Yep.
Because you had to clean one.
Know how to take apart a propane tank. Highlight of my week, thinking I was going to explode every 5 minutes.
We were decommissioning.
They were
some
aluminum. They were aluminum.
Yeah, we were decommissioning some old propane tanks. I got a nasty look from Gino. Like, you know what he's doing back there? It's like, I promise they won't blow up.
Well, I was smelling it, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I saw highly flammable on the side, and I was like, I was drilling in with a screwdriver.
Dean, you might want to go to
Sparks
commercial.
flying.
Go to commercial.
Ocean could be listening.
And you learned about open-ended questions, I guess, right? 'Cause
Yep.
we were doing sales training this week.
Oh, yeah, you sat in on the last part there.
Yeah, and then also learned how to use ratchet straps. Had
All
to
right.
FaceTime my friend to figure that one out. But we're learning a lot this week. Been a great learning experience.
It's invaluable lessons that you'll never learn in college.
Yeah. So you're a football player.
Yeah, I should have probably mentioned that.
Yeah. So you lineman, pretty
O-line, yep.
pretty big boy.
Get a Dan Petrick, one of those Bells, 6'3", 315. I play football at Brockport. We had a pretty good season. We went about 8-3. I backed up our left guard, and it was a fun time. Great with everybody there, but it's a whole different world out there. I mean, most people play high school football, but once you get to college, it's just everything's moving 1,000 miles per hour. Like, some of those guys are wicked fast. It's just hard to hit too. You get some small guys who are just
That quick.
quick, go right around, just zoom by, miss the block completely, get yelled at. But it's been great, been fun.
Got to work on your speed, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I always remind him and my younger son, Flynn, you guys know
Yeah, we know
when he was here when he was little. Now he's almost Liam size at 15. That only 7% of high school athletes play any level of college athletics. So it's even on Liam had many opportunities to go several Pennsylvania schools to go wherever he wanted really to play. Not wherever he wanted, but he could have played any division. He chose Brockport because it was closer to home. But watching that compared to a high school game, you're amazed by even like Division III level football. It's faster, it's bigger. I mean, you could pick him out in high school. You go, oh, there's Liam because he was 4 inches taller, 3 inches taller than everybody. Not in college. Their left guard was 6'8".
Wow.
So it's entire, and Bill knows this. His son played at one of the best Division III colleges in the country, Mount Union. Big, fast, strong kids. Well, Liam is exceptionally strong, but it was a really eye opener when we went to the second game.
Wow.
Yeah, you really got to know their number, and when they're that.
Yeah, because you just can't. My wife Molly. Every week she goes, "What's his number again?" Because he's changed numbers 3 times, so he's always been in the 70s, but it's changed 3 times because you can't pick him out. You can't. You're like,
find
okay,
him.
where is he?
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest parts about going into the sport too. College at least, is that everybody's like the same height or bigger than me. Like that's the first time in my life I've seen someone 6'8".
You're not knocking the crap out of somebody anymore. It's a battle, isn't it?
I'm not like in high school I was playing against kids who just got out of algebra, and now I'm going against guys who are 26 years old.
Yeah.
And with the COVID year,
year.
super seniors they called them. Yeah.
The oldest guy I've seen on the field is like 28, and I'm like,
Is that
that's
right?
not fair.
Oh yeah. It's
Shit. I knew
He's a grown-ass man.
Yeah, right.
One of the guys on the team, he tore his ACL twice, got a COVID year, and then he also he hurt a shoulder, so he had 8 eligible years. He just decided to coach. But
My son's 22, almost 23 years old. He graduated in May. He still had 2 years eligibility left.
That's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah. He should have kept playing and went and got his masters.
Well, then, yeah, but then you still got to pay that tuition thing.
That
and
is true. That is true.
He
yeah.
got hurt too, right?
He got hurt, so that was part of the extra year. But
Like I took that kid who was left guard was 24, and they had a 25-year-old on the line.
and that's a big difference of being 18 years old going against a 24-year-old.
yeah, it is.
I'll do a little bragging, but Liam was much stronger than all of them.
Yeah, I believe that. And,
Put some work in.
That's why you put
Following
that
your-
work in to get that strong, because it's
Yeah.
Over the years, I've gotten a lot of videos from Gino. Like, here's what Liam did in the gym today.
Yeah, I stopped lifting with him and my son when they turned like 13. Just doesn't. And for everybody out there, I'm not a small person. But I don't know how we grew him this big. My wife was a Division I athlete. You guys know she played basketball at Bucknell, and she's 6 foot. Was probably a little taller than that when she played. Of course, we all shrink when we get older.
Right.
But she's the Division I athlete. She's also the one that gave him all their smarts. So Liam's a twin, and his sister and he and my younger son are very, very smart kids. I don't know where they got it. I know where they got it. It wasn't from me.
Well, that's good. You groomed them well.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else got any other questions? We're kind of short today.
Yeah, I think we're all still tired.
Yeah, these morning ones aren't going to work out too well for us.
Tired. Making me wake
Dean
up.
hasn't even said anything except his name.
I think Dean was nodding off.
Were you up late last night, Dean?
No, I just last week messed up my sleep schedule.
Last week?
Yeah. Working with Dad in the shop till
Oh,
I think it was awful
9, 10
last
o'clock. They're not getting up till about 9,
Were
10
you
in the morning.
rebuilding his truck? The engine or something?
Yeah.
For his main truck that he drives?
The farmer I work for has 3, 4 trucks in his fleet, and almost every single one of them is down.
Oh.
So we had a clutch to do. That turned into a week-long project. And this week my dad was working on rebuilding the engine, which was the main reason I took off last week. We just never got to it.
And then we had a long weekend here because we did some in-house sales training, and it was from 8 to 5 every single day, and then we went out to dinner at night. So
Yeah, we made Dean sit through that.
Yeah.
How'd you like it, Dean? What'd you think?
Very informative. I believe I'll use a lot of that.
Want to be a
information.
salesman now?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
then we got the holiday party tonight. You hanging out for that?
now I'm heading back.
All right.
I got to take my wife out. It's her birthday.
Oh yeah, it's 50, right?
Yeah, she's 50.
Should we say that on the air?
I don't care.
She's not listening.
I don't care if she is. I tell you, it was a heartbreaking moment. I got the mail the other day, and it was an invitation to join AARP for her. I thought she was going to cry. I was laughing.
I blew past 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gone.
All
right.
right, now we got to start our normal activities for the day here in a minute.
Yep. I guess.
Well, another sales meeting today.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
wrap up.
Get all these sales meetings out of the way so we can start selling.
Yeah. Get on the road and
Yeah, it's a good week to do it, though. I mean, just
the week
Good.
after first. Yeah.
Started. All right, guys. Well, we like getting everybody on and introducing themselves to the world of our podcast, and we appreciate you sitting with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we call it
thanks for having me.
the meeting the crew series.
Meeting crew. Yep. All right.
Don't forget to support our buddies at Green Street Joinery by subscribing to the American Craftman podcast and their new YouTube channel, Today's Craftsman. Both links in the description of today's podcast.